I just turned 29 and I wish I had learned these things sooner. Number one being, life is a movie. Now, I hate this whole idea of main character syndrome that's been going around a little bit, but a couple of years ago I heard this idea of treating your life like somebody is following you around with a video camera. What would you do? What would you do differently? What would you not do? If your life was being broadcasted to the world, kind of like that idea in Black Mirror, like what would you do differently? Like there's beauty in trying and failing to light a fire because everything's wet. There's beauty in the everyday things that we do. But would you even watch the show if somebody is looking at their phone 4 hours a day? They're just completely self-centered and only care about themselves. What would you do differently if your life was a movie? And then act on that. The people in the big house are never home. For the past couple of years, I've been walking down this street that's behind us that has a bunch of like $1 million houses on it. It's really nice, but something that I noticed is that those people are never home. Every once in a while, one of them will be, but for the most part, those people who have those $1 million houses, those multiple nice cars, a lot of them aren't actually like enjoying the things that they have. And if they had, a house that was half as expensive, or like us had a house that they could rent part of it out, they would be able to enjoy that home like literally twice as much probably. So just because somebody has nice stuff, a nice house, a nice car, doesn't necessarily mean you would want that stuff. You would want that responsibility, that expense, that weight, that amount of work that it takes to maintain. And the sooner I realized that, the sooner I stopped chasing kind of like material stuff. Now, on the flip side of that, I think it's also important to remember that there are people who do buy those $10 million houses. You look at $2 million house or $10 million house or $50 million house, there are people, there is a market for those things. And those people are just as normal as you or me. We're about to go on a trip to Switzerland, and out of curiosity, I was like, okay, what's the most expensive hotel in this city? And it was like $2,000 a night. And after I picked myself up off the floor, I was like, this place stays in business. There are enough people to keep this place in business that has, tons of rooms that pay $2,000 a night. So instead of just shutting off your brain and saying like, that's ridiculous, I'll never be able to afford that, taking a step back and asking, how are these people affording this? What are they doing differently than what I am doing? Most of them are business owners or something like that. And so if I have no possibility in my life of making that type of money, what shifts do I need to make in order so that 10 years from now, I have the opportunity to drop $2,000 a night on a hotel and it not make a big impact in my budget? But that leads to my next point, is that, are you willing to do what it would take? I realize that I am not willing to do what it would take to be worth $100 million. I'm just not willing to do that. I'm not willing to do what it would take to found a company and then sell the company 5 years later, for $30 million, like whatever. I'm just unwilling to do that because I would rather work 2 to 4 or 5 hours a day doing stuff that I love, making content, hanging out with my family, going on a decent amount of trips, not really stressing about a lot of things in my work because it's outsourced, and know that I will never reach that next level. I'll never buy a $10 million house. I'll probably never be able to afford, that hotel. And, I'm okay with that. And as soon as you get to that realization of, are you actually willing to do what it would take to reach that level? And if you're not, then you can stop putting this pressure on yourself that you're not good enough, that you'll never get there, that you're so far behind. Like, are you willing to take the trade of being Elon Musk and working 80 to 100 hours a week your entire life to be the richest man on earth? Like, most of us actually, when we look at the amount of work it would take to get there, we wouldn't actually want that trade. It's not a lifestyle we want.
And then just work like hell. I mean, you just have to put in 80 to 100 hour weeks every week.
Gosh.
It is literally freezing out here. Track the cup. No one cares about your hair, unless you're a financial tortoise. For the first 25 years of my life, I was obsessed about how I looked, how others thought about me. When I started going gray, I was like, oh no, not this.
No! God, please, no! No!
Even part of the reason I grew this scruffy, besides out of pure laziness that shaving every day is just like a complete scam, it was because I looked like a 12-year-old when I don't have this, and I look young, and I was like a real estate agent. It's hard for people to take you seriously when you look like a 12-year-old. But as I've gotten older, I realized that most people, they don't care about your hair, they don't care about your clothes, they don't care about what type of car you drive, they don't super even care about your job, anything that you think is important and that you do in order to impress people. Nobody else gives a crap. And I wish I had just gotten to that sooner and realized, like, okay, what do I want my life to look like? What do I want my outfit to look like? What do I want, all these different areas of my life to look like, despite what anybody else thinks about me? And I think the sooner you get to that, the less stressed you become. Like, I don't really care that, I have a stutter and my hair is messed up. Like, I used to really you know, prepare for these videos, and now I just like, nobody cares if my hair is messed up or that I haven't trimmed my beard in a while or that there's coffee on my shirt underneath this jacket. Like, nobody really cares, so it's not even worth the time. Do hard things. Okay. I use my sauna and my cold plunge pretty much every single day, despite the benefits of, you know, getting more relaxed and feeling more energetic and sleeping better, all that type of stuff. The main reason why I do it is because it is something hard to do. And I know that the more hard things I lean into, the more times I feel like, I don't want to do that. That's generally the stuff that you need to do. That's the stuff that helps you grow as a person. Much like going to the gym, you know, you rip your muscles apart in order to build them back stronger. You need to continually work this exercise of like, something's hard, I don't want to do that. Okay, I have no choice but to do it. Like, I hate public speaking. I've never done it before, more than like 5 people. And I'm pretty sure unless something goes wrong, I'm gonna talk in front of like 100+ people next year at a conference. It's my first FinCon 2024. I think I'm gonna try to talk on that stage next year. I'm not getting paid for it. There's zero benefits whatsoever. It'll take a lot of time. The main reason I'm doing it is because it scares me more than like almost anything else. And I know that when I feel that, I need to do that because it'll make me a better person. It'll give me experience that'll help me later. I don't know how it'll help me, but I know that it will help me. Do hard things. And that leads me into all things work together for good. I lost my son 3 years ago now. It was a miscarriage. And that was one of the hardest things I've ever been through in my life. But knowing that verse and having a great community around me was the only way I was able to get through that. Like, it was really hard. But knowing that the good stuff that happens, the bad stuff that happens, it's all gonna work together for good. Like, I don't know what good's gonna come out of that. I know I have my daughter and my son, which they wouldn't be the same if it wasn't for that. I don't know how I'll be able to help somebody who's been through something similar in the future. I don't know what good will come out of that, but I know something good will come out of it. And that's how I look at every hard thing that happens to me. I just trust that whether it's a week from now or 10 years from now, some good will come out of this. I'll be able to help somebody. Something positive will happen because of those hard things. And that makes getting through those hard parts in life, which happens to absolutely everybody, way more bearable. I don't know. Something good will come out of it. And that actually leads me to this story of like, things aren't necessarily good or bad. There's a couple different variations of this story, but it's pretty much like you get hit by a bus and you break your legs. You're like, man, that is the worst thing that's ever happened. You're like, maybe. And then while you were in the hospital recovering from that, your house burns down. You're like, man, it was a good thing I hit by that bus or I might have died in that house fire. And like, well, you know, maybe. And then, it goes back and forth, back and forth. There's multiple variations of the story. But I think, again, just realizing that, yes, maybe you got a flat tire, but if you hadn't, you would have gotten in a car accident that killed you. It's like, yes, maybe you missed your plane, but if you had gotten on it, maybe there was, whatever. Not instantly labeling everything good or bad, but instead just kind of keeping this like, maybe, maybe not. I'm just gonna kind of continue with my life and not let it hugely upset me, whether it's excitement or disappointment. Has kind of really helped me not ride waves as much and just realize that, there are good things, there are bad things. It's hard to even tell which ones are which. So just like stop stressing about everything. My phone is my worst enemy and my best friend. I think honestly, one of the things that's held me back the most in my life is this phone. I've wasted hundreds of dollars, especially when I was a teen, playing different games, and probably hundreds or thousands of hours just completely wasted. And then even occasionally I'll get stuck like watching different channels or Instagram or TikTok, or like it's always different things that end up wasting your life and your mental space. And it's the people who can take that energy that is wasted consuming things and actually put it into producing things that become a lot more successful. So in that way, it's my worst enemy, but also it's because of my phone and like making content and getting ideas from people and using it in a positive way that it improved my life. So like it can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. Ultimately, it's a tool, kind of like money. But I would say how you treat this and how seriously you take protecting yourself from everybody in the world who's trying to get your attention is almost directly correlated with how successful you will become in whatever endeavor you're doing, whether it's fitness or anything else. If you're just distracted constantly, you're not going to be as productive as you could be. That being said, one of my next goals is to try to hit 1 million subscribers by the end of next year, which would be absolutely insane. If you do want to help me out and subscribe, it's completely free. It also helps the videos out, and I appreciate it. I think I'm also going to go inside because it's absolutely freezing out here. Delayed gratification. Without delayed gratification, I don't think I would be anywhere in life. And this was something that I luckily learned kind of relatively early on. It's that if you want to get in shape, you have to sacrifice something. You have to do hard things of eating, not just cake and pizza, and going to the gym. You have to do stuff that sucks now in order to get a reward later. And the same thing is true with finances or almost anything else, where I had to be extremely frugal in order to save up enough money to be able to start investing and eventually buy myself some freedom. Nothing big or good comes easy, and I think learning to practice delayed gratification is one of the most important things you can do, especially early on in your life. It all starts with why. The reason I was able to leave my job at 24 and never look back, and I'm pretty sure I will never have to go back to a day job again. In fact, I'm almost 100% certain. And that did not happen by accident. It came because I had a strong why. And the idea of a why is like when things get hard, when you have to wake up at 5 a.m., when you're working multiple jobs, when you want to just go out and blow $300 on a weekend or treat yourself or finally get that upgraded car or whatever it is, if you don't have a strong why, you're gonna lose your willpower to do all of those things, and you're not gonna get what you wanna get in life. That's why you're gonna fail your New Year's resolution. It's because you don't have a strong enough identity of why behind it. And mine was being able to spend time with my kids, having freedom, not having to clock in somewhere. I had these really strong reasons where like I would rather die and sacrifice whatever it took to do all this delayed gratification in order to get to this place where I have freedom in my life. And I think having that core thing behind me is what has led to a lot of success for me. And that brings us into stay calm. Honestly, staying calm has been one of the biggest things that I feel like gives me an advantage a lot of times in life. Not an advantage, but it's like really helpful. It's this idea of mastering my emotions and not letting somebody say something and then it bug me for the entire day. It's when my car breaks down, it's when whatever happens, I am able to stay calm and never yell at people, never lose my cool. When other people are freaking out, I'm able to rationalize and continue to think and have control in my emotions. And that generally leads to a lot of positive, let's say, and a lot less stress for me. And actually, I've been using this app of the same name, Calm, like a lot, especially recently. And it's been really good for me to just take some time and breathe a couple minutes throughout the day. I'll just take a few minutes and do some meditations, just do some breathing, just letting my mind declutter a little bit. And then same thing before bed, just listening to something or doing some breathing exercises really helps me calm down my mind and my body so I can actually function without it just racing constantly like it used to. And that's why I actually partnered with Calm as the sponsor of this video. Calm is actually the #1 app for sleep and meditation, giving you the power to calm your mind and change your life. Honestly, I think using this right before bed has been literally life-changing. Besides like last night when the kids are sick and I didn't sleep all night, getting good quality sleep is literally life-changing. I think better, I perform better, I'm happier, and using all the tools inside Calm has really helped me be able to do that. And Calm offers a wide range of different content for your ups and your downs in life. It's got programs like meditation to help you work through anxiety and stress, boost your focus, and build healthier habits. It's got sleep stories and sleep meditations. I've been absolutely loving those before bed. They're so calming. I fall asleep in like the first 5 minutes. It usually takes me like half an hour. They've got grounding exercises when you're feeling overwhelmed. They have expert-led talks to help you handle grief, or if you struggle with self-esteem, to help you care for your relationships, and a bunch of other stuff. Calm just gives you all that info and helps you use the phone for good. And whether I have, a minute, 2 minutes, or half an hour, Calm has things that will help. So if you want to stress less, sleep more, and just live a better life, I would highly recommend checking out Calm. They're offering an exclusive 40% off with the link down in the description, or you can go to calm.com/Gabe. Honestly, if you are one of the almost everybody who struggles with stress, anxiety, not sleeping great, this is a really cool tool. So thank you again to Calm for sponsoring this video. Buy Apple, not Apple. Instead of buying an iPhone every year or every other year like most people do, I actually buy stocks. I invest in real estate. I buy Apple stock, not Apple stuff. Instead of being proud to flash the newest iPhone, even though mine did break and I did have to buy this, I don't like showing stuff like that off. I'm almost embarrassed even though it's a couple of years old. Because the true value in something is buying the actual stock. It's buying something that puts money in your pocket, not something that is just a suck on your cash. Like if you bought Apple stock 10 years ago, it was trading around 24 bucks a share, and now it's at like $200 something per share. So if instead of buying an iPhone, you bought Apple stock back then, your finances would be markedly different instead of just having a slightly flashier phone. It's all on me. There was this book called Extreme Ownership where pretty much he just talks about whether it's the successes or the failures, the good, the bad, your team fails, whatever it is, just 100% blame yourself. And since I've done this, I've been way way happier, even though it doesn't seem like that would happen. But when I realized that I don't have any money and there's no chance that I will have any money if I continue to do what I'm doing, just working, cleaning office buildings and failing at being a real estate agent, I decided, instead of blaming the economy or my boss or anything else, I took extreme ownership and I said, if I don't change something about my life's not going to change. And ever since then, whenever bad stuff happens or my life's not where I want it to be, I take ownership of that. I don't blame my genetics of why I don't have abs. I'm like, well, if I really tried, I know I could. And that gives me the power to improve my life. So whatever's going on, blame yourself. $1 saved is better than $1 earned. I learned that in here somewhere. But pretty much, if you save $1, you will have $1. Congratulations. But if you want to earn $1, it's probably going to take like $1.30 or something like that, because taxes pay a lot of taxes. So if you want to improve your finances as quick as possible, the fastest way is not always to earn more money, although that's definitely something that needs to happen after you save money. But saving money will make the biggest impact and is actually the most efficient thing that you can do. Until you get to the point where you can't save anymore and then you need to earn more, but especially when you're getting started, it's like 30% more effective. Happiness is a choice. You can have two people doing the exact same thing in the exact same situation. One of them can be miserable and one of them can be happy. And for most of my life, I've been that miserable person. Until again, reading, I kind of heard this story about two people in the same situation and one of them is happier. And I realized that I was choosing to be unhappy. Generally, a lot of my unhappiness was being here and wanting to be somewhere else. It was envying what other people had. It was not wanting to be in the situation that I had, and just accepting where I am and the things around me led to a lot more happiness than always wanting something else, whether it's less pain, whether it's a different place or job or whatever it is. That's where a lot of unhappiness comes from. And now I firmly believe that happiness a lot of times is a choice. So like, you meet those people who have tons of stuff going on. They have crazy struggles, more than I could ever dream of. They have cancer, they have different things, and they are the happiest people. And that is because they have made that choice that they are not going to let this negative thing affect their happiness, their enjoyment of this one life that they have. So I do actually believe that it is a choice if you want it to be. And one great way to do that is actually to be present, especially with your kids. Like, there are people who are around their kids, 3 hours a night after they get home from work, they're with their kids, but they're on their phone, they're watching TV, they're not like really there interacting with their kids. They're there, but they're not there, So being present and listening to a conversation without thinking about what you're gonna say, actually interacting with your kids without having something else on your mind, actually just being present and tasting what your coffee tastes like, feeling the air outside, listening to your breath. That is, I think, where life can slow down and you can enjoy your life a lot more and lead to some of that happiness, is when you look around you and you see the beauty and the art of just being alive. A lot of that just comes from being present. Shoot first and then aim. When I started my YouTube channel, I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know what a thumbnail was. I didn't know what I wanted to make it. I didn't have a banner. I didn't have a website. I had nothing, but I pressed record, I uploaded a video, and I figured out all that stuff over the past 6 years. I also made a free course if you want to figure that out sooner. But regardless, if you're thinking of starting some business or doing anything, stop overanalyzing and just take action and figure it out as you go. It's the fastest way to learn and actually make progress and not just get stuck in analysis paralysis. You get paid for your economic value. This kind of sucks and is not fair, but ultimately, if you impact more people, you make more money. So if you're not making money, you need to gain skills that are more valuable for the economy. And if you can do that and impact people at scale, you'll make more money. Hence, when I was cleaning office buildings, I was making $10 an hour because I wasn't impacting anybody's life. Stop setting goals. Now, there are some times when it's okay to have goals, but for the most part, systems and routines are going to be the things that make those goals actually happen. It's the little things that you do every single day that get you closer to those goals. Having a goal in and of itself is just a pipe dream if you don't have a planned out routine to get there. And that leads me into consistency always wins. Crash diets or starting some business for just a month, anything like that where you're not doing it long term, it's going to be almost impossible to beat somebody who's putting in a quarter the amount of effort, but they do it for 10 times longer. They're going to be way ahead of you. Don't be depressed. I'm very prone to getting depressed. We call it depresso espresso. And I work very hard to avoid that by, again, choosing happiness and going to the gym, eating right, exercising, going sauna, cold plunge, reading self-improvement stuff. I have fallen off the bandwagon of doing all that stuff occasionally, and almost every single time I start to get depressed, lose motivation, gaining weight, like a bunch of stuff happens. It's your choice, do the hard stuff. If you're competitive, use it. I am in competition with almost everybody that I know. I realize this probably isn't healthy, but I am a competitive person. I love video games, even though I can't play them as much anymore because I get addicted to them because I'm so competitive. So I've turned that into the real world and trying to gamify my real life to beat people who have no idea I'm competing with them, just because that is what I enjoy doing. So if you're competitive, use it. And also use your strengths. This is something that I learned from the 4-hour work week, and it's been life-changing for me. I am very good at being creative and making videos and certain stuff like that. I'm very bad at other things like bookkeeping, even managing people. There's a lot of stuff that I'm pretty bad at. And so I've just avoided doing all that stuff. I outsource it or I just don't do it. It's not always the best thing, but I've just leaned into my strengths and avoided my weaknesses, and it's way easier. Confidence comes from keeping promises to yourself. If you want to be a reader and you read a page of a book every single day for like 6 months, every time you do that, you're like doing this vote for yourself that you are a reader. And eventually you see yourself as a reader, and that's just what readers do is they read. So if you want to become somebody that you're not, you just have to vote for yourself enough times by taking these small actions every single day, and eventually you will be that person that you've been voting for yourself to be. That has literally changed my life in multiple areas. Take the shot. Most people never do. Most people will think about starting a bunch of businesses, they never will. They'll think about getting ripped and in incredible shape, and after a month, they'll give up. They'll think about all these things that they want to do or want to be or travel or whatever it is, but most of them will never actually take the shot to start the business, to start the social media page. They'll never take that first step to building their dream life because they're worried about what other people think about them. They're worried about failure. And you know what, going back to some of the other things, nobody gives a crap. So if you want a life that's just completely crazy and like you want a different life than everybody that you know, you're gonna have to do different stuff than everybody that you know. You're gonna have to take that shot. You're gonna have to fail probably a bunch of times. But eventually, if you do that enough times, you'll most likely succeed and live a pretty cool life. And if you enjoyed this video and you want more like it, don't forget to subscribe. You can also click on this video right here, which the YouTube algorithm is 100% sure that you will love, or at least, you know, they think you will. So, see ya.